My fiancée said, "Please don't pick me up in that car again. It makes me look cheap." I just said, "Sure." I didn't upgrade the car, I upgraded something else. When she walked out of her office and saw what was parked in her spot, she didn't even blink for 10 seconds. I'm Derek, 30, and 4 weeks ago, I learned that sometimes the trash takes itself out. You just have to give it the right opportunity. My fiancée Vanessa and I had been together for 3 years, engaged for 8 months. We met at a charity fundraiser where she worked in event planning, and I was there as a volunteer. She was polished, confident, knew everyone in the room. I was drawn to that energy. We started dating, and for the first 2 years, things were solid. Then the engagement happened, and something shifted. Vanessa started making comments. Small things at first. Maybe you should dress a bit sharper for dinners with my colleagues. Have you thought about upgrading your watch? My friends' partners drive nicer cars. I brushed it off. She worked in luxury event planning, dealt with high-end clients. Of course, she was image conscious. I didn't take it personally, but it kept escalating. 3 months ago, I picked her up from a work dinner in my car, a 7-year-old Honda Civic. Reliable, paid off, good on gas. Nothing fancy, but it got me where I needed to go. When she got in, she was quiet the whole drive home. Cold. The next morning over coffee, she said it. "Please don't pick me up in that car again. It makes me look cheap." I looked up from my phone. "What? Your car, Derek?" "It's embarrassing. My colleagues saw me getting into a decade-old Civic. Do you know what kind of cars they drive? What that says about us? It says we're practical. The car runs fine. It's paid off. It says you don't care about how we present ourselves. I'm trying to build a reputation in this industry. Image matters. Everything matters. I'm not buying a new car because your coworkers are snobs." She sighed, like I was being difficult. "I'm not asking you to buy a Range Rover. Just something that doesn't look like you're still in college. Can you at least think about it?" I stared at her. "Sure." That was it. I said sure, and I let it drop. But something in me clicked. This wasn't about a car. This was about her seeing me as a project, something to upgrade and polish for her social circle. I wasn't a partner. I was a reflection. I started paying closer attention. The comments didn't stop. She'd mention how her friend's fiancé just made partner at his firm. How another couple bought a house in the right neighborhood. How someone's engagement ring was at least 3 carats. Every conversation felt like a comparison I was losing. 2 weeks after the car comment, we were at her office holiday party. High-end venue, open bar, everyone dressed like they were attending the Met Gala. I wore my best suit, not designer, but clean and well-fitted. Vanessa introduced me to her boss and some colleagues. I could feel her tension, the way she positioned herself slightly in front of me, like she was buffering. One of her coworkers, a guy named Brendan, asked what I did. I told him I was a senior data analyst for a mid-sized tech company. Decent job, good salary, nothing glamorous but stable. Brendan nodded politely. Cool. Vanessa's always talking about how grounded you are." Grounded? The word felt like a dismissal. Like I was the boring baseline she tolerated. Later that night, in the car, my embarrassing Civic, she was on her phone, texting someone and smiling. "Who's that?" I asked. "Just Melissa. She's sending me photos from tonight. Did you have fun?" "It was fine. Would have been better if we'd arrived in something a bit more presentable." There it was again. I gripped the steering wheel tighter, but didn't respond. The breaking point came a week later. Vanessa had a big client event on a Friday evening. She asked me to pick her up afterwards since she'd be drinking. I said sure. But this time, I made a plan. Update 1. I didn't buy a new car. Instead, I made a phone call. My younger brother, Kyle, is a car enthusiast. He restores classic cars as a side business and has a small collection. One of them is a 1967 Shelby Mustang. Pristine condition, deep blue, chrome accents. The kind of car that turns heads and stops traffic. He barely drives it, keeps it mostly for shows and special occasions. I called him Tuesday morning. "Kyle, I need a favor. Can I borrow the Mustang for Friday evening?" "The Shelby? What?" "Long story. I'll explain later. Just trust me." He hesitated. "Kyle loves that car more than anything. You're not going to scratch it, right?" "I'll treat it like my firstborn. I promise." "Fine. But you owe me." Friday came. I told Vanessa I'd pick her up at 9 p.m. outside her office building. She texted back a thumbs-up emoji. No questions, no follow-up. Just expectation. I picked up the Mustang from Kyle around 6 p.m. Drove it carefully back to my place, parked it in the garage. At 8:30, I got dressed, Same suit I'd worn to her holiday party, nothing special, and drove to her office. Vanessa's office building has a front driveway loop where people get picked up, reserved spots for executives and VIPs near the entrance. I pulled the Mustang right up to the curb, engine rumbling, chrome gleaming under the streetlights. I texted her, "I'm outside." She replied, "Be down in 5. I waited, turned off the engine, leaned against the car. A couple of people walking past stared. One guy with a briefcase actually stopped, pulled out his phone, and took a picture. I didn't react, just waited. At 9:07, the building doors opened. Vanessa walked out in a black cocktail dress, heels clicking on the pavement. She was looking at her phone, not paying attention. Then she glanced up, saw the car, and froze mid-step. She didn't blink for 10 seconds. Just stood there, staring. I watched her process it. The car, me leaning against it, the fact that this wasn't my Civic. I opened the passenger door. "You ready?" She walked over slowly, like she was in a trance. "Derek, whose car is this?" "My brother's. He lent it to me for tonight." "This is a Shelby Mustang." "Yep. Why didn't you tell me you could?" She stopped herself, probably realizing how that sentence would sound. "Get in. Let's go." She slid into the passenger seat, still looking around like she couldn't believe it. I closed her door, walked around, got in, started the engine. The rumble echoed off the building walls. I saw her colleagues in the lobby, watching through the glass. A few had their phones out. We drove in silence for about 5 minutes. Then she started. "Why didn't you tell me your brother had a car like this? You never asked about my brother's cars. I didn't know he was into this kind of thing. There's a lot you don't know because you never ask." She went quiet. I could feel her trying to calibrate, trying to figure out what this moment meant. "This is incredible," she finally said. "I mean, this is exactly the kind of car I was talking about. Something with presence." "This isn't my car, Vanessa." "I know, but still. Maybe you could ask Kyle if he'd let you borrow it more often. Or maybe you could look into something like this for yourself." I didn't respond. Just drove. Update 2. We got back to my place around 10 p.m. Vanessa was in a good mood, talking about the event, about how people had looked at the car, about how Brendan from her office had texted her asking about the Mustang. "He wants to know if you'd ever sell it," she said, laughing. I told him it's your brother's. "But seriously, Derek, this is the kind of thing that makes an impression. You saw how people reacted." "Yeah, I saw." She didn't pick up on my tone. Or maybe she did and chose to ignore it. The next morning, Saturday, we were having breakfast when she brought it up again. "So I've been thinking, what if we looked into getting you a car like that? Or at least something in that range. It doesn't have to be vintage, but something sporty, something that stands out. I'm not buying a new car." "Why not? You make good money. You could afford a decent down payment." "I don't need a new car. The Civic works fine. But it doesn't present well. Last night proved that. You saw how people reacted to the Mustang. That's the energy we need." "We?" She paused. "Yes, we. We're getting married, Derek. We're a team. How you present yourself reflects on both of us. And how I present myself isn't good enough for you." "That's not what I said." "It's exactly what you said. You've been saying it for months. My car is embarrassing. My watch isn't right. My job isn't impressive enough. I'm always falling short of whatever image you're trying to project. Derek, don't be dramatic. I'm just trying to help you reach your potential." "My potential? Vanessa, I like my life. I like my job. I like my car. The only person who has a problem with any of it is you." She set down her coffee mug, hard. "If you're happy being mediocre, that's your choice. But don't drag me down with you. Then don't let me. If I'm such a disappointment, why are you with me?" She opened her mouth, closed it. Tried again. "Because I love you." But love isn't always enough. Compatibility matters. Values matter. And our values don't align. Apparently not. We stared at each other across the table. I felt something settle in my chest. Clarity. Maybe we should reconsider this engagement. Her eyes widened. "What? You just said our values don't align. You think I'm mediocre. You're embarrassed by me. Why would we get married?" "I didn't say I'm embarrassed by you." "You did. Multiple times. The car, the watch, the job. Everything about me needs upgrading to meet your standards. I'm tired of it, Vanessa. So you're just going to throw away 3 years because I want us to present better?" "I'm not throwing anything away. I'm recognizing that you don't want me. You want a version of me that doesn't exist." She stood up. "You're being ridiculous. One comment about a car, and you're ready to end everything?" "It's not one comment. It's months of comments. It's the constant implication that I'm not enough. I'm done trying to be whatever you think I should be. Fine. If that's how you feel, maybe we should take a break. Not a break. I think we're done. Update 3. Vanessa moved out that weekend. Took her stuff. Left the ring on the kitchen counter. Sent me a long text about how I was making a huge mistake and would regret letting her go. I didn't respond. The first week was weird. Quiet. I kept expecting her to text or call to try to walk it back. She didn't. Kyle came over the following Saturday to pick up the Mustang. I told him everything. He listened, nodded, then said, "Man, you dodged a bullet." Yeah, that car's just a car. If she couldn't see past that, she wasn't worth it. I know. Still sucks though. It'll stop sucking eventually. Want to grab a beer? Yeah, let's do that. 2 weeks after the breakup, Vanessa's friend Melissa reached out to me. We'd always gotten along, and I got the sense she never really liked Vanessa's attitude. She asked if we could meet for coffee. I agreed. We met at a cafe near her place. She looked uncomfortable, kept fidgeting with her cup. "I need to tell you something," she said, "and I feel like you deserve to know." Okay. Vanessa's been seeing Brendan, the guy from her office. I blinked. When did that start? I don't know exactly, but from what I've pieced together, they've been flirting for a while. Maybe a few months. I don't think anything physical happened before you two broke up, but emotionally? She was already halfway out the door. Why are you telling me this? Because I don't think you should feel bad about ending it. She was always going to leave. She was just waiting for the right excuse or the right guy to monkey branch to. You calling off the engagement probably saved you from an even worse situation later. I sat back, processing. Does Brendan know I exist? I think so, yeah. He definitely knows now. They've been pretty public about it. Wow. I'm sorry, Derek. You deserved better than her. Thanks, Melissa. I appreciate you telling me. We finished our coffee. She hugged me goodbye, told me to take care of myself. Final update. That was 4 weeks ago. Vanessa and Brendan are apparently still together. I heard through mutual friends that they're already talking about moving in together. Fast, but not surprising. She always needed to be in a relationship, needed that validation. I've been doing okay. Better than okay, actually. The apartment feels lighter without her. I'm not constantly second-guessing myself, not wondering if I measure up. I'm just existing, and it's nice. Kyle and I have been hanging out more. He's teaching me about car restoration. I'm actually thinking about starting a project of my own, nothing fancy, just something to work on in my free time. Last week, I ran into one of Vanessa's former colleagues at a grocery store. Woman named Diane, always seemed nice. She recognized me, came over to chat. "I heard about you and Vanessa," she said. "I'm sorry it didn't work out." Thanks. It's for the best though. For what it's worth, I always thought she was too focused on appearances. You seem like a nice guy. Grounded. There was that word again. But this time it didn't feel like an insult. I appreciate that. And that Mustang you showed up in that night? That was incredible. My husband's still talking about it. I laughed. It's my brother's. I was just borrowing it. Well, it made an impression. On everyone. Including Vanessa, I think. Maybe. But the impression wasn't enough to make her appreciate what we had. Diane nodded. Her loss. I went home that day and realized something. Vanessa wanted me to upgrade the car because she thought that would fix what was broken. But the problem was never the car. It was her. Her values, her priorities, her inability to see past surface-level status. I didn't need to upgrade my car. I needed to upgrade my relationship. And I did, by ending it. I'm not bitter. I'm not angry. I'm just relieved. Relieved that I saw it before we got married. Relieved that I trusted my gut. Relieved that I'm not spending my life trying to impress someone who will never be impressed. The Civic's still running fine, by the way. Still gets me where I need to go. And that's enough. Edit. A lot of people are asking if I ever confronted Vanessa about Brendan. I didn't. Once Melissa told me, it confirmed what I already suspected. Vanessa was never fully in the relationship. Whether it was Brendan specifically or just the idea of someone better, she was always looking for an upgrade. Confronting her wouldn't have changed anything. She would have denied it or justified it, and I'd still be done. So I just let it go? Edit 2. For those wondering about the Mustang, no, I didn't buy one. Kyle's letting me borrow it occasionally for special occasions, but I'm focusing on my own project car. Thinking about a '72 Camaro. Something I can work on with my own hands, make it mine. It's not about impressing anyone. It's about building something real.